The offensive rookie of the year is probably more, I would say it's a lot more legit than even the MVP, honestly, because everybody there deserving. We have Jameer Gibbs, we have Sam Laporta, we have Puka Nakoa, Bijan Robinson, CJ Stroud, and all of these guys are very deserving of it. I think the least deserving, only because of how he was utilized, was Bijan Robinson, but he showed he's a
Yeah.
monster. And when Raheem Morris actually uses him correctly this year, we'll see how great he really is. So some of these guys here were record breaking. Sam Laporta, most receptions by a tight end as a rookie. We had Puka Nakoa break basically every single wide receiver record for a rookie. And then CJ Stroud turned what was the 4 and 13, 4 and 13, 4 and 13 Houston Texans into a powerhouse and a team that could challenge the Chiefs, Ravens, and all the other teams in the AFC for years to come.
Yeah, I think with CJ Stroud, he should definitely be the rookie of the year just with everything he did at the quarterback position and how valuable he was for his team. But when I look at all of these guys, I think of who the most dominant player was from start to finish. It's Puka Nakua.
Mhm.
And I love Jameer Gibbs. I love Sam Laporta. And even Bijan Robinson was dominant at times earlier in the season, but start to finish, Puka Nakua balled out. He broke receiving yard records after receiving yard records, whether it's the rookie receiving record or it was the single game receiving record in a playoff game for a rookie against the Lions. And Puka Nakua, in spite of losing that game, still balled out. He was still dominant. And in spite of Cooper Cup being added on that team, he's like, hey, I know you had your thing with Stafford and he loves throwing to other receivers, but he kind of likes throwing it to me now. And I'm a younger, faster, more athletic version of you. So I think I'm going to take this thing, take some pressure off of you, old man, let you recover from your injuries, and still be the number one guy that Matthew Stafford targets on that team. And then
Mm.
when Cooper Cup came back, it was a little clunky at first, but he eventually got better at the end of the season. So I would go with
Mm.
Nakua.
Yeah, I think with all the records that he had the greatest wide receiver season of any rookie in NFL history. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to win it. And I think that like even CJ Stroud, he had some games where he struggled. He did lose to the Panthers, which I still think is something to look at. So I think Buka Nakua is probably the most deserving, but it's probably going to be CJ Stroud.
Yeah, probably going to be CJ Stroud. And hopefully he wins Rookie of the Year. But I think Puka Nakua definitely deserves to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. But let's shift to defense because there is other side of the ball that gets drafted in the NFL. We have Will Anderson from the Houston Texans, who was leading the league in pressure success rates, and he was up there pass rushing wise with the likes of Miles Garrett and TJ Watt, even better at points of the season than Micah Parsons, battling through a sprained ankle, I believe, and he was still dominant in the playoffs and versus the Colts. Then we have Jalen Carter. He played well and showed a lot of flashes early in the season. Then he kind of fizzled out, and I didn't hear his name called during any Eagles games. Then we had Joey Porter Jr. Had that interception on Lamar Jackson that ended up sealing the victory and allowed Kenny Pickett to win the game to George Pickens. So he's had some good moments. And then Kobe Turner and Devon Witherspoon.
Yeah. So I think the clear winner here for me has to be Will Anderson. He showed up in the playoffs. He showed up in the regular season. He immediately stepped in and became one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. So, I mean, all these other guys have been great. Don't get me wrong. I like Devon Witherspoon a lot, and I like some of the other guys we mentioned. But Will Anderson, of all the rookies, is the one that stood out the most
Yeah.
because that defense, of which last year was middle of the pack, stepped up and became a really solid defense. So I think that it's got to be Will Anderson.
Yeah, I think it has to be Will Anderson as well because you had the second and the third pick of CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, and they had equal impact on each side of the ball, respectively. And I think just with how often he was able to succeed with pressures, he was a game wrecker for that defense. And I feel like from start to finish, he was the most dominant player, similar to Puka Nakua there. So I would give it to Will Anderson as well. But excited to see all five of these guys in future NFL seasons
Same.
dominate there.